Hey y'all, so it's time to check in about Atlanta Housewives. So I would say that this episode was a lot more calm. You had some real life moments going on during this episode. So it wasn't a whole lot of drama. So let's get into it, shall we? All right, so first off, we'll talk about Shamea and Cynthia. Shamea went to see Cynthia, and Cynthia was trying to get to the heart of some of her issues that she's been having with the ladies. And the main thing that came out of that is Cynthia asked her, hey, speaking of Porsha, why didn't you invite Porsha to your party? And she explained, she's like, you know what, we haven't even spoken if we're going to be honest, and things are just not in a good place. And she revealed that there was a text message that was sent to her regarding her marriage from Porsha. So I guess if Porsha was talking crazy about her marriage, she just didn't want her in her house. So, I mean, I can understand that. But you know what? I think the reunion is going to be real interesting because I don't know if you guys saw Porsha's interview with Carlos, but Porsha revealed that Shamea did something low down and dirty. And I think that's the reason why the whole issue with the moms are going to come to surface. Okay. So we have to keep a lookout for that. So apparently there's a lot more there that we haven't seen yet. Let's talk about K. Michelle and Pinky. Okay. So they meet up for lunch, and K. Michelle is telling Pinky how she went and hung out with Shamea and her mom, and she was talking about how her mom's breast was all up to her face. And then she goes on to say how like Shamea was telling her, none of my other friends want me to be friends with you, and I'm your friend, and you need to be loyal to me, and so on and so forth. But here's the thing. Shamea just did an interview with Carlos King, and Carlos asked her about some of those comments. And she said, first of all, she didn't tell her that her friends don't want her to be friends with her. She said what happened was Shamea was meeting up with Candy. I think they were all going out to a concert and so forth. So I guess Kay wanted to come along, and she was just like, girl, you know, I'm going to meet up with Candy and them. So like, you already know, like, girl. So that's what she said from that. And she said when she got with Candy, she told Candy to say, hey, Kay wanted to come. And Candy was like, nah, you know, Rashida's my girl or what? Because we all know K. Michelle has beef with Rashida, and Rashida's friends with Candy. So that was the extent of that conversation. But she said she didn't tell them, oh, we don't want y'all to be friends. She's like, they don't even really talk about her like that. And during the interview, Shamea pulled out pictures to Carlos King showing her mother's outfit. She said her mother's chest wasn't all the way up here. Matter of fact, they actually showed us the photo as well. So she just had on a blazer. And it wasn't anything like what K. Michelle was trying to describe. But I noticed one thing she didn't really quite answer. She answered the part about the way her mom was dressed, and she also addressed telling K. Michelle that none of her friends want to be friends with her. But she didn't really address the comment that she was telling K. Michelle, oh, you need to be loyal to me. So my thing is, if you're going to sit there and try to prove out all the lies, you got to address all of them. So I noticed she didn't really say that. But Shamea was flip-flopping a little bit because Carlos was saying, okay, well, if K. Michelle blew this out of proportion, the issue that she has with you, is it possible that she's doing the same thing with Porsha and Phaedra and Drew regarding this plot? And she's like, well, I can't say that girl's lying because, like, why would she lie about something like that? But here's the thing. You trying to tell us in so many words. Like, she didn't come right out and call K. Michelle a liar, but in so many words she was, because she was pulling out receipts and time stamps. Because that's another thing. K. Michelle was saying they hung out to 2 o'clock in the morning, and she was like, no, I got the time stamp right here. It was 12 o'clock. She said, I've been getting my receipts ready for the reunion. So, okay, if Kate lying on you, why couldn't it be possible that she's lying on them as well? You're kind of contradicting yourself in that regard. So anyways, I'll be interested to hear more context about that at the reunion because I'm sure it's going to come up. So I really want to hear the full scope of what the discussion was for K. Michelle to walk away thinking that, okay? So there's that. So going to Drew's house. Now, see, when you try to rock with Drew, she be lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is one episode where she was definitely caught lying because she was trying to relate to the women what happened at the game. She's telling Porsha and them, yeah, Shamea was bringing up Porsha. But when we look at the flashback, who actually brought up Porsha? Drew brought up Porsha. Shamea didn't say anything because the discussion was centered around why Shamea and Drew don't get along. And Shamea was like, you know, I really don't even know why we have beef. And then Drew was like, well, we have beef because I had gotten into it with your friend. She's the one who brought up Porsha. And mind you, even after she said that, Shamea didn't even say much after that. So I thought that was messy. And then to top it off, Cynthia's like, well, I got to add something too. I sat down and I met with Shamea, and Shamea brought up a text message between y'all. And then Porsha was like, well, I'm not going to get into the details of that. But see, even Cynthia is bringing back stuff messy. But she's bringing stuff back messy too because let's be real. Once again, Shamea did not bring up Porsha. Cynthia was the one who asked Shamea about Porsha. And then she went on to explain things. So it was kind of messy how both of them are trying to make it seem like Shamea just going around talking about Porsha when it's really not even like that. They asking her about that. So, of course, that's planting seeds in Porsha's mind. She's like, okay, this girl's still talking about me. I don't say nothing about her. Plant a seed that don't even need to be planted. So that probably adds to why they get into things later on, right? Because people telling stuff that's not even true, okay? But I have to say, it was a little bit funny watching them at the house. There was a couple of funny moments, right? Drew presented Porsha with this rainbow cake because during this time, Porsha comes out and discuss how she's dating a man and a woman. And she was like, well, I got you this rainbow cake because, you know, you all out there now. And then Porsha hit her back. She said, yeah, I'll share it with you because we all know Drew was messing with a woman named Todd, remember? So Porsha kind of got her lick back on that. So I thought that was funny. Also, they asked about Ralph. They was like, where Ralph back? Why you come up here and speak to us? She was like, oh, he's downstairs. And then it was like, oh, well, maybe we're just talking Morse code. And they started stomping the floor. They were trying to irritate Ralph. I thought that was funny. So I thought that was a good scene. Then let's talk about Porsha, shall we? Okay. So first of all, she goes to CultureCon. And while she's being interviewed, talking about her dating life, and then she decides to let the whole world know that she's dating both a man and a woman. And of course, it wasn't received well. She has Mike come over to her house and they're eating dinner, and she asks him about it. He's like, well, I didn't really like it. And I don't know why she thought they would. She's like, oh, you know, I wasn't thinking. I just thought I was shouting them out. All she had to do was just say, hey, I'm dating right now. I'm exploring some options, whatever. But Porsha is Porsha. They start talking about the status of their relationship, assuming this is a real relationship, but whatever. The main thing with them is that he wants children. Porsha's at a place where she's not even sure she can have children biologically, nor does she really wants to carry. So she's at a tricky state where that is concerned. And she's like, well, do you still want to take it slow with me? And so I guess they're still dating at that point. But let's get to the meat of it all, okay? Porsha and Dennis, okay? Dennis comes over to talk about things. And of course, he heard about CultureCon. And he was trying to tell her, like, look, you don't have to always tell people everything you got going on. Like, you ain't got to put everything out there. And he's like, I really don't want my daughter confused. And she's like, first of all, I'm just dating right now. Like, nobody's met Pilar or anything like that. And he was just trying to tell her, you got to slow down. If I'm going to be real honest, though, Dennis has his ways, but Dennis be telling her right where men are concerned. She does have a history of jumping in way too fast in relationships. She did the same thing with Dennis because he was trying to tell us, look with Simon. I didn't agree with you being with Simon, and look how that turned out. And she tries to go around and say, well, you was done too. Well, duh, that's the whole point that he's trying to make. Because even when she got with Dennis, she jumped in real fast, and Candy kept trying to tell her, hey, I don't think you really want to date him because Dennis is for the streets. But she did not want to listen, nor did she do her due diligence. And then look what happened. He cheated, right? Granted, I know things like that can happen anyway, but you got to take your time and get to know people. Because the same thing happened with Simon. And let's be real. She saw Simon, she saw the money, and she decided to attach herself. Let's just keep it above, okay? And then Shamea even mentioned last year at the reunion, she was like, hey, I told you to do your due diligence about him. Because apparently there was, rumors or things going on about him. Sure enough, she didn't do it because she was enjoying the lifestyle. And then look what happened. And I think she got engaged to him after, a few months? And he even brought it up. She said, well, you were supposed to, bring me back that ring then. And he was like, by the time I came back to bring the ring back, you already engaged to somebody else. And it wasn't even a long time period. He was trying to tell you that's fast. And he's right, it is. I appreciate the way she's handling her dating now. Like, she's trying to take a step back and go a little slower, date multiple people, see who she likes before she gets too deep involved. But anyway, so he is right about that. She doesn't like hearing it every time he bring it up. And then she also has to realize Pilar is of the age where she can get on the internet, right? So even if you don't bring these people around Pilar, who's to say Pilar couldn't have gone on the internet and found out about it? Or who's to say one of her friends at school couldn't have told her about it? You know what I mean? So it's like, it can get back to Pilar. She has to remember she is a public figure. So she still has to be mindful about what she says for her daughter's sake. But here's the thing that really got me about that. He had the nerve to bring her the engagement ring that he had for her. And Porsha was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm like, why would you even bring that in here? And she just felt like it was triggering her because she said, you know what, you gave me this ring twice and let me down twice, okay? And then you're going to bring this ring over here. Like, give this ring to Pilar. Like, I don't want this ring. Like, what do you want? What do you want to do with this? What did he think that she was supposed to do with that ring at this point? Why even play with her like that? Y'all are done, and you were supposed to be dating somebody. I feel like you said that at the beginning of the season, so what happened with that? My thing is, the relationship is done at this point. So he needed to just go ahead and pawn it. He had his opportunity. He had an opportunity for them to try to work things out, especially for the sake of their family, but he didn't for whatever reason. So that's on them. He has to realize he has his faults in that relationship too. He's the one who messed things up. Because if we're going to be honest, I do think that Porsha would have ended up with Dennis. She even said that. Dennis is the person she really wants. But he disappointed her. So she got to move on. Right now, she seems happy with Sway. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But I feel like he got a lot of nerve to do that. So we saw a couple of difficult times during this episode. Kelly had to move out of her place because she's been having issues with her neighbor. And it got to the point where police has to be involved. And she said she's been harassing her and her kids, so it just felt unsafe, and she had to move out for within a week or two. Shamea offered her a place to stay until she figures out where they're going to stay, and I thought that was nice. But here's my only problem with Kelly. Like, if we gonna lie, we got to make sure the storyline looks good, okay, and all the dots are connected. Because I go back to Jarvis once again, right? Because in my mind, if you allegedly have a man that's spending this kind of money on you, wouldn't he help you out in this type of pivotal moment? You know what I'm saying? So again, it doesn't make sense that he spent $70K on dental work, but he can't help you find a place to stay. Okay. It just doesn't make sense. And then he's not around to help move. Now, granted, I realize he doesn't want to be on camera, but make it make sense. Okay. And then on top of that, it looks like Phaedra is going to help her out as well. She's going to help her out with child support. And Phaedra is not going to charge her because she said, you know what? I know what it's like to be a single mom. And not only that, I know what it's like to go through a divorce. And I paid astronomical legal fees when I was going through my divorce. And I had a pretty tumultuous divorce. And she know what it's like to have to deal with that along with 2 kids. So she wanted to extend her some grace because she knew that Kelly was going through a hard time. So I actually thought that was really nice of Phaedra to do that. The only thing I asked of Kelly is to make sure that we're not talking trash about people, because I feel like, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Kelly has made remarks where Phaedra is concerned, but hopefully that'll change, okay? And can I just mention this one thing about Pinky? In this episode, her and her husband are meeting up with Montel Jordan and his wife because apparently they're her marriage counselors. Is it just me? Or do y'all find that Pinky's trying to let us know that she knows somebody every single episode for the most part? She dropping celebrities left and right. I guess she want us to know that she's in the know. Girl, we get it. You connected. We'll give you that. Like, I wonder who's popping up next episode. Hey, I guess if you got it like that, you like that. Okay? So she just wanted to talk about her marriage and make sure things are still on track, especially while she's dealing with the bankruptcy. Angela was also going through a hard time. So we were getting close to the anniversary of her mom's death. Her brother came to visit her and they connected and talked about how difficult it's been since she's been gone. And the sad thing is that she passed away so suddenly. I could only imagine how hard it is to come to terms with that. And she was talking about how her kids are missing her. So that was a really tender moment. And then the cast really rallied around her. A few people sent her some gifts and reached out to her to offer her support. And at the skating party that Pinky had, Pinky presented her with flowers. But can I just say, Angela a little bit shady. Did anybody else catch the shade that Angela was throwing a little bit towards Pinky? So now let's go to the scene where Phaedra, Porsha, Cynthia, and Angela came to Drew's house to catch up. Okay. They were talking about how Pinky and Notori look like, and she was like, the only person she look like is Mr. Clean. And I'm just like, I thought her and Pinky had kind of moved past things and gotten along, so I'm not sure why she threw that shade out there. It's like, okay, girl. But then I noticed another little slick thing at the skating party. Pinky presented her with flowers. She just like, hey, I know you and I got off to a rocky start, but I just wanted to show you some support and send you my condolences about your mom, which I thought was nice to do. But then in Angela's speech, where she's thanking everybody for what they did, she had to bring, Drew sent me those beautiful bouquet of flowers. Just like, girl, how you going to say that right after Pinky just gave you flowers? Like, she didn't even have to do it like that. She could have just acknowledged everybody for, their thoughts and their gifts. And, anyway, I just thought that was a little strange. Now, anyway, so... Well, that was all for this episode. This episode was a mixture of light and heavy because, like I said, there were a couple of people who went through some things, like with Kelly and then Angela. But I have to say they had some very light moments too, like the skate party. It was the first time in a while where everybody got together, had a good time. Everybody was just hanging out. At one point, it looked like even Shamea and Porsha was sort of like kikiing a little bit. It was a really good vibe. It really was. And it was good to see them like that. My thing is, we ain't got to fight about nonsense every single episode. So I was grateful that they had that time together. So we shall see what happens next week with these women. So it's going to be some drama though. But well, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.